and welcome to the SciFirst MovieTalk episode. So in this episode, I'll discussing Disney Pixar's 26th movie collaboration, the 2022 computer animated science fiction, space adventure and spin-off to their popular Toy Story series, Lightyear, as directed by Angus MacLane. The film serves as an origin story for one of the toys in the aforementioned series, a space ranger by the name of Buzz Lightyear, as voiced in this movie by Chris Evans, who takes over the role from Tim Allen, who had lent his voice to the character in all 4 Toy Story movies. Now, the thing is, Buzz is a toy, right? From Toy Story? Well, that's entirely true. This film, however, is the film that young Andy, who got a Buzz Lightyear for his birthday in the first Toy Story movie, and indeed the toy that completely shook up the zen for the rest of his childhood toys, especially Andy's favourite at the time, Woody, as originally voiced by Tom Hanks, is the film that Andy fell in love with and made him go Lightyear crazy. Or at least, that's the general idea. So, technically, this isn't an origin story for the Buzz we know and love. It's an origin story for the toy, which means technically we're watching a film within a film. Just a tad confusing, perhaps. Anywho, the movie itself sees this version of Buzz, whatever your take on him is, crash land on an alien planet, along with a group of explorers who, following the crash, set up a colony on the planet they were examining, Takani Prime, while they repair the ship and find a way off the planet. However, their plans are threatened when they are attacked by an army of robotic soldiers under the command of one Emperor Zurg, as voiced by James Brolin, who later becomes one of Buzz's greatest and most formidable enemies, from what we know of the Toy Story movies, of course, who seemingly will stop at nothing to destroy the planet's settlement and capture Buzz. With the rest of the settlement trapped inside an energy shield, it becomes up to Buzz and a handful of overly eager junior recruits to put a stop to Zurg's plans and ensure everybody's safety once more. So, ultimately, given the idea behind the film, the real question is it bold enough, captivating enough, adventurous enough to merit becoming Andy's favourite movie back in 1995? Could I imagine myself as a kid around Andy's age in 1995 enjoying this movie so much that I'd become enamoured with Buzz Lightyear as a character? And simply put, no, not really. The thing is, I don't think it was entirely suited for a younger audience. Most of the film's target clientele in our cinema was running up and down the aisles, screaming, shouting, and generally losing interest. I think it kind of lost them, to be honest, and although I certainly enjoyed the space adventure that befell, I just don't think it was one of those movies that would really grab your attention in such a way as some, of course, as they do as we're young. This just didn't scream that kind of cult status. Now, personally, I'm into all kinds of movies, but the one thing I really do detest is movies that don't have a point, particularly those that have little relevance or standing, such as a movie within a movie. With the exception of Angels with Dirty Faces, there are very few that I would actually like to see turned into something on the big screen. I know movies are pure fantasy for the most part, of course, except for true stories, but nonetheless, they embellish. But, they are fantasy, and especially so, those such as this. But this was a movie to begin with, within another. And so no matter how tense or adventurous this movie could ever hope to be, it has no stakes or bearing at all. It's not an actual origin story. At best, the idea is a DVD extra or a Saturday afternoon cartoon. And, to be honest, haven't they actually done this one already? As a film about Buzz Lightyear, I really do not see or get the point. However, as a simple space adventure, although it doesn't set the world on fire, it's certainly quite enjoyable. once you get out the Buzz, get Buzz out your mind and Toy Story out your mind, it's actually quite a lovable bunch of characters that they have put together for this, including Socks, a companion cat as voiced by Peter Sohn, whom I had kind of seen in the trailer and kind of dismissed as kind of like this cute gimmick. Actually, Socks actually turned out to be one of the characters that actually stole the show. Another worthy mention, and I can never say his name, the guy who directed Thor 3 and will be directing Thor 4, Taika Waititi, as Mo Morrison, one of the fumbling recruits who has some brilliant one-liner comedy moments, especially those involving his pen. Some of it's corny, but acceptably so, you know? I think the story was quite derivative, certainly not one of Pixar's most original. I didn't quite get the Pixar vibe from this one, as I've kind of done from many of their other movies. But it still ended up being quite the adventure, whilst also at the same time pushing the boundaries of what kind of a younger audience would be able to comprehend. Although I've seen the ideas many times before in this movie, I'm sure you guys will as well. They haven't, I don't think, been quite as packaged like this, perhaps. The animation was fantastically detailed throughout, and composer Michael Giacco brings some of the flair he used for the Star Trek series, which was brilliant, to form a kind of brilliantly extraterrestrial, if somewhat familiar feel for the movie's soundtrack. I knew it was one of Giacco's without even looking it up. It's an adequate presentation through and through that covers the main elements of what I would have expected, you know? I am not sure that all of Buzz, you know, all the references to Buzz Lightyear and Buzz hit quite the way that they had kind of planned, nor did I think Evans give much weight to the role. Indeed, I would have certainly have preferred Alan to have voiced Buzz once again, but I get what they were trying to show in this is that this was a different character from Alan's take, and that indeed may have been even more confusing if they did. I think it could also have perhaps been more 1995. It's unlike any film that I have ever seen from that era, you know? There's that kind of 90s style that you do associate with films of that time. Yet this film never utilised any of that, nor had many references, if you like, from the era, which would have been quite a nostalgic journey to have undertaken. Now, I'm not saying it should have gone into for some cheap CGI. Let's face it, Toy Story still stands up to this day. But certainly a more 90s feel, you could have made it a little bit more believable. So, overall, despite my misgivings, given the context of the movie, I must admit I really did enjoy it. I'm not going to lie. I still don't get why they had to do a Buzz origin story in this way, or one at all, to be quite fair, and I probably never will. But it was an interesting watch in the end, and a decent enough space adventure for what it was. I just wish it felt like the stakes were higher. It perhaps could have felt more 90s to make it seem like it might have been a film good old Andy would have watched. But truthfully, I don't think it's the kind of film that would really have resonated with kids of his age even back then. Not so much that it would have created Buzz hysteria, you know? In fact, moreover, it would have been more believable if Andy had wanted a Socks all-out action figure, you know? Instead, to be honest, Socks was much, much more of a standout character. And of course, the cute factor certainly helps, you know? So, that brings me to the end of this episode. Many thanks for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you have, please leave a like. Please do hit that subscribe button for more movie reviews, trailer reactions, and other movie-related content. Absolutely loved having you here at SciFirst MovieTalk, and definitely love to have you back. Most of all, just thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.